Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. Check this out. The vehicle was repossessed. They voluntarily gave the car back. It was charged off on their credit report. Then later, they received a letter, a notification saying that because the car was repo, because you defaulted on your agreement, that we will sell the car and then we will send you a bill for the remainder because you're responsible for it. That is what a YouTube subscriber put in the comment box, and I want to break down what that means when you have an auto repo, what's going to happen regardless of what finance company you have, and the things that you can do about it. Uh, and hopefully you don't find yourself in this situation. This was a response to the video. Can I get arrested because I owe $17,000 from my car repo? And I had stated in that video that in some states they could try to uh, arrest. They put a warrant out for your arrest, kind of like a bench warrant. Say arrest this person. If I'm a debt collector, I sue them. They don't show up to court. Put a warrant out for the arrest. When they show up to court, then they have to answer to the court and say, okay, I can't pay this debt. But yeah, I owe it, but I can't pay it. That's basically what happens when they arrest you. Don't get arrested over the weekend because unless you, I don't know, it's different in every area, but uh, every state and every debt collector doesn't utilize that tool. Uh, I'm glad because that would be very harsh when we're talking about a financial obligation. Uh, so this is what happened, and it happened to be Santander with this individual. Santander repoed their vehicle. They did a voluntary repo. When you do a voluntary repo, so let me break all this stuff down. Just because you give it back to them, it's not like you borrowed something from your friend and they said, "Hey, if you said if I gave you that, you was going to give me $5," and you say, "Well, I ain't gonna, I didn't want to use it no more. Here, you take it back," and you don't give them anything, and they just be like, "Okay, I ain't gonna loan you anything anymore." Taking your car back and doing a voluntary repo does not mean, "Hey, I paid you for the time that I used it, and I'm giving it back to you, so let's just part ways, and I don't owe you any money." It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. When you do a voluntary repo, all you're doing is just making it easy, which I don't think you should make it hard if you want to give the car back to somebody. You should not make it hard. You should not make it hard. You should just give it back to them. And for you who are saying, "Hey, Steve, it's easy for you to say that." I once had a repo in the 90s. I had a repo in the 90s, so don't think that I'm just like, oh, like one of these other people who haven't had things that I talk about on this channel happen to me, and I make it sound so easy to go through the process. No, I know that there's feelings. I know that it does not feel right. But I also know when you get to that point where it's like, I cannot keep doing this, come and get it. Come and get it. And that's what this individual said. They did a voluntary repo, but the misconception when you do a voluntary repo is people think that everything just ends. Everybody cut ties. I gave you the car back. You can go do something, make some money off the car. It don't work that way. What they do is they're going to take the car, which they said in the step number two is they said they charged off the debt. Some people say, "Oh, my credit reports, you charged off the debt. I don't owe it no more. You charged it off. You got the write off with the federal government. You got your money. You get to save on other money that you made. You don't have to pay the tax on it." It don't work that way. They charge it off, yes, for tax purposes, but they also charge it off because they have to tell their investors that your loan is not good anymore. The lenders, I mean, the investors who invest in the company, they put their money in there and they want to make money back. And they only way that they can know they're not sitting in there. They look at the returns on their investment from the company, the way that the company is growing, the way that the company is uh, moving forward. And the company cannot lie and say that your account, who they did, you gave a voluntary repo of the monthly payment that you were paying, that comes out of the company's profits. So they are required by law to be truthful with their books, and they have to take your account off the book. So that's what that charge off, that's what that write off means. It does not mean they've written you off and you're not friends with them anymore and the contract is ripped up. No. Let's go to the next step. They said charged off as bad debt caused by natural disaster, COVID. They actually placed that on there, which is you, Santander. Thank you for putting that on there. At least they've learned the lesson from the Santander lawsuit. At least they've learned that. They put that on there and they're gonna, this will, I believe that this could actually open up a door for a solution for you, but let's just keep moving forward on there. They put it on there for natural disaster COVID. Natural? Yes, viruses are natural disaster. Then I received a letter a few days later saying they repoed the vehicle because I defaulted on the agreement, and they will sell the vehicle at auction, which is the next step. They take your vehicle, go to an auction, which they don't really give a you know what about. They don't know if they give it to this company that they're contracted with. They're not there in their suits, the finance people, and they're not there in their suits saying, "Hey, we got this car up for sale. Who's gonna give us the highest bid?" It doesn't matter. The car goes through there, and it's gone. It's gone. They sell it for what they can get, and then they come after you for the balance. And this is when the game is really going to be on because they're going to be on you. And depending on what your financial situation is, and you might be saying, well, how are they going to find out what my financial situation is? They're going to find out what your financial situation is by looking at your credit reports. And they will do what's called tracers, and they will see where you work, where you live, what you pay, other stuff that you didn't default on. They're going to make a determination if they're going to come after you and try to sue you in court for that remaining balance. Depending on what finance company it is, what type of company, we know what Santander does. All you have to do is look up their record. They might sell it, try to balloon it up, sell it in a package to a debt collector. They might try to do all types of things, but they're going to try to come after you for this money. So now that we've broken everything down, we got the voluntary repo, charged off due to natural disaster in COVID, received a letter that you defaulted, we're going to sell it, you're going to be responsible for the remaining balance. What you do for step one is that number one, you push to get the information removed off your credit reports based on natural disaster. There may be some rules. I'm going to do some more investigating on that because I hear that there's some rules that's going to come down that some of this information cannot be placed on a report when it's part of COVID, even with medical bills, cannot be placed on your credit report. This is not 100%, but I believe that this is a remedy that they're going to utilize. The corporations got funding from the federal government to stay in business. Individuals need some remedies. They did the stimulus. They did the tax. I mean uh, rent, the foreclosure and the moratorium, and they did the rent eviction moratorium, which a lot of that stuff is gone and over now. But this was uh, potentially part uh, of that package, or it can be utilized as part of that package to get information taken off your credit reports. That companies will follow through on that process now, but that does not take care of the other side of them trying to come after you for that money. So the next step is when they sell that vehicle at auction, you want to get the auction statements. You want to make sure what they paid, what they sold the vehicle for is 100% true. Then you also want to get your original contract with Santander. And they may say you have your contract. You tell them if you're dealing with Santander, you tell them you lost it. If you're being sued in court, you're gonna have to say that there's some sheets or something that you recall not being in the package that you were given, uh, at the time that you signed your documents. Get those documents and you want to review them to make sure that there's no insurances or nothing on there that would pay them for the vehicle. We've seen this before where there's insurances against you defaulting on your car and they paid off the vehicle or they paid a certain amount of payment, something, especially with what's going on right now. There are companies out there that they will do this. They will give lenders uh, a rider, some type of policy that say, hey, buy this from us. We're in the business of gambling on your people making the payments to you. And the reason why you want to do the selling for us and present it to your customers who are buying a vehicle is because, what if they run into trouble? And if they run into trouble, you get paid, they get assistance. These things were being sold to people, they didn't even really understand what they were. Check to see if it's in there. Check over your contract to see if everything is the way that you remember it. Remember, Santander and dealers were lying on a lot of stuff. Check your original application from the dealer. Get that. See if they lied about something. You could utilize all of these things, and it doesn't matter if it's Santander or some other company. You could utilize these things to potentially get out of paying the remaining balance or to push them into a very favorable discounted settlement agreement with the lender. So the options are always open and on the table. If you don't notice, I got a little bit of a stopped up nose. I don't feel like I got a cold, but maybe one is coming on. You know how stuff is. Uh, if you need help with your credit, I'm in the video here. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video. What makes us different? Watch my 8-point validation process, settlement process. If you can agree with that, we want you to become a customer. It's not going to be done overnight. It's a process. Everybody's situation is different. Some people take shorter, some people take longer, but we will be here and we will keep working for you to get you to a resolution. It takes work. If you don't have your credit reports, don't have your scores, go to the website, the number 3scores.com. Get them, review them, look at everything on there. And if you decide to become a customer with our company, we can utilize those to start working on your credit. If you need the cease and desist collection activities letter, the debt validation letter, or the statute of limitations letter, those links are below. I give you all three letters at the same time. Use the one that applies to your specific situation. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.